Joining us on Pirate Radio Live, former East Carolina defensive coordinator Greg Hudson. Coach Hud, how you doing, sir?
Doing good from the cornfields of Indiana.
Thought you were going to break into some Lee Greenwood there from the cornfields of Indiana. Good deal, and glad to have you on. A couple of topics I want to hit with you, and
Yeah,
you're big NIL guy as far as following what's going on with all that. And we had a spring practice holdout for more money,
yeah.
and Tennessee said we're not going to pay you that raise, Nico. So you're going to have to find a new home. And apparently he is or did at UCLA. Not sure if they gave him a raise or kept him at his normal $2 million. But how about that situation, Hud, where you had a spring practice, spring game holdout for more money?
Yeah, that's you knew something like that was coming. Um, greed, arrogance, ego, all follows money. And I don't know the kid personally, but I don't know who's advising him. And it was the whole situation. He and his party made it about him, made it about them instead of the program and the people that were going to pay him. And hopefully he'll enjoy that new tax bracket that he's going to be in California when he gets drilled out there. And so sometimes that may be a sign that there's some other problems that he was having. Maybe he didn't like certain situations, but the problems aren't addressed. They don't get fixed. All you do is just change the address of the problems. And
And
I tip my hat to the coaching staff, to the head coach, and for holding their ground and kick him to the curb and see what happens.
yeah, talked to a couple of former Pirates yesterday, and they said that you want to talk about a locker room distraction. That would have been the ultimate one. I'm pretty cynical on these things, so when Tennessee gave him the boot, I was like, well, just another team's going to scoop him up and pay him millions. I mean, is there really going to be a lesson learned here? But apparently, he was turned down by a couple of teams, and
Yeah.
like you said, from the Tennessee side of things, they had to do this. It's good on their part. But I'm wondering if any lessons are going to be learned by players here, or if we're going to see this in fall camp or see this week 6 when.
They're going to evaluate. They're going to evaluate how he ends up performing. Will probably be the only tail of the tape. And I can say, I don't know if that would have been in place on my radar right now.
Right.
I've seen UCLA on film, and I don't naturally think I think that's a step down from where he was at Tennessee. To go
Definitely.
from playoff team to a team that just seems to rotate a coach every 3 or 4 years. And I don't know, how tough it is. Their program is. I just, yeah, I'll keep my eye on that one. And usually stuff like when money gets involved like that, you see those guys get those big second contracts, and a lot of baseball teams are playing guys that held out for that money and then just laid a bunch of eggs.
Yeah,
Better,
Coach.
you put yourself out front.
Right.
You want the responsibility. The one thing you better do is you better produce. And it just,
And he
I still
didn't
think
do
that
that.
want the question: how are these guys transferring? What's their eligibility? What's their satisfactory progress rule on graduation? Where are the numbers in that? Why isn't that held in the caveat of everything and not talked about more? Well, this guy can't transfer because he doesn't have a good enough GPA. They put out you're ineligible to play in the bowl game. They'll put that out there if your grades aren't good enough. And I think more leverage and responsibility can be put on these guys, and accountability, because of they're working as pro athletes.
Greg Hudson joining us. I mean, we don't want to see anybody sit out of practice and asking for a 100% raise, but Nico specifically really good against like FCS and non-conference opponents, and then in the SEC, his numbers were bad. Like, how could he even think Tennessee was going to do this? HUD Coach Mack always says, and it's for basketball and football. If you want to coach, you want to be in the SEC or Big Ten. That's where the money is and everything.
Yep.
So from a Nico's standpoint, he is going from SEC to Big Ten, but UCLA is not the traditional Michigan, Ohio State, or even USC or Oregon for that matter. UCLA
Terry
is not
Donahue's not running out of the locker room with Troy Aikman.
Rick Neuheisel in the 90s.
Right. Well,
So.
the other thing, Tennessee, I'll use the word, for lack of a better word, I'll call it is what it is. It's a gimmick offense. They're going to snap the ball before you're ready. That really, their offensive line was heavily evaluated for the Joe Moore Award, but, I could block too if I catch a guy off guard and he's not fully in a stance. He's not ready to play. I mean, you and I could go out there and get a first down with blocking guys if they're up. Well, let me take that back. Me and Ellerby could go out there and, but we could give you the ball. But that it's feast or famine in some of those offenses. You get a lot of 3 and outs, and then, that defense is in the SEC is better prepared with speed from perimeter, sideline to sideline, and the numbers aren't as good, and it is what it is, and it's not going to be any easier going into the Big Ten, and we're going to see what it's like when he gets on check their away game schedule. When do they go to Madison, Wisconsin? When do they go to Minneapolis? When do they go to Iowa? When do they go to Illinois? When do they go to Happy Valley? I mean, how's he going to play when it's not 55 degrees in Tennessee in November, but it's 25 degrees and it's blowing sideways?
Yeah, looks like Columbus in November, mid-November.
Not a good place to be. Not a good place to be in November.
Indiana, late October. They kind of caught a break because in November they are home, and then Ohio State, and then home, and then Southern Cal. So from a weather standpoint, caught a break there.
Yeah.
But who knows? It could be snowing in at Michigan State on October 11th. So who knows?
Or raining like you wouldn't believe.
East of Lansing. Greg Hudson joining us today on Pirate Radio Live. HUD, we had an East Carolina quarterback transfer in Jake Garcia. He started last year, played okay, threw way too many interceptions, and was benched. And the coaches kind of made it sound like that there might be more than just football here, but an interesting time. Honestly, I'm surprised he stuck around this long and participated in spring football, because this is going to be Caden Hauser's team moving forward. But what are the pros, cons to transferring this late in the cycle?
There's sort of a mumble that, the spring portal is usually the underachieving portal. And, the one in January has got more of an impact and a roster filler. Now, this one is a little bit more of the, we got to get 1 or 2 guys. So I think the volume's less. I don't know if that's accurate, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
How many teams right now are going to take, a guy that's been beaten out and got beat out again in the spring, and he's transferred how many times?
Oh man, this will be, if he goes to another school, college number 4.
Yeah, his helmet looks like the side of a Kenworth truck going down there with all the stickers on it.
Remember those college football All-Star games? The guys would put the different stickers on the helmets.
That's what they should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have to keep it on.
Yeah. As a badge of honor or shame, if you do transfer, you have to have your other school, on your helmet.
That would be sweet. Maybe you get to keep some NIL money, and you put, keep a pirate sticker on there, and you get a couple bucks. So this will be number 4, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Missouri and Miami, ECU, and next destination. So,
wow.
Good guy. I hope it works out for him in football and life. But again, this Caden Hauser really played well when he took
Yeah,
over.
he did.
So
Yeah.
writing on the wall there. Greg Hudson joining us today at Pirate Radio Live. Coach Hud, we had a couple of questions of the week. Yesterday we started talking candy bars for some reason. What's your favorite candy bar?
Hershey bar
Huh, pretty
with
plain.
almond.
Okay, got to go with the nuts.
Yeah.
How about
I
RJ
do like.
Felt?
Well, let me go back. I'll drop a payday on you.
Ooh, okay. A lot of nuts.
Yeah.
What is your relationship? Yeah, you know something about everything. Do you know anything about is it called the Portsmouth Invitational? The
In Ohio,
basketball all-star game?
the one in Ohio?
This one's in Virginia.
No.
It's been
Isn't
going
that
on
the
for
original?
it's going on for 70 some years.
Yeah.
Apparently it used to be a big deal.
Isn't that where then they broke out and started the 5-star and all that stuff?
Could be because it is like scouts are there, both NBA,
Yeah.
international. RJ Felton, our Pirate, was the MVP of the game. So congratulations to RJ.
Really?
Yeah, but
He's athletic as all get out.
he'll play somewhere, man. He'll be
He is very man. He plays above the rim a lot.
another. I always wanted to see him on a football field, but another
Yeah,
topic
I
of the
had
week.
guys. I had a couple outside linebackers in Tallahassee that looked just like that. 6'5", 6'4.5", and they
Yes,
could
sir.
just up out of the gym.
Finally, Coach, congratulations to Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter. They're getting their jerseys retired at Colorado.
Really?
Have you not heard that?
No.
How about that? University of Dion is retiring the jerseys of the numbers of Sanders and Hunter.
Okay.
I think they went 13-11. Was that the record there in Colorado? Now, Hunter won a Heisman, and what he did from a playing standpoint is pretty incredible. Offense, defense. Shadur, I don't know. But Dion making a lot of waves in a short amount of time in Colorado.
Yeah, that might have been in the contract, the new one.
Could have been. I've heard Cordell Stewart and Rashawn Salam. Are we going to honor those guys or
Really?
just Dion's boys? So
I mean, give me Cordell Stewart in that offense now, the spread like it
yeah.
is. He'd be all over the place.
You remember the Slash commercial, and at the end, Bill Cowher
Yeah.
said, "Hey Cordell, get in there and punt." I don't know why I remember that, but classic
I remember
commercial.
that. I remember that ball he threw in Ann Arbor that was a touchdown.
Caught by my favorite player at the time, Michael Westbrook, who went on to be a Redskins kind of bust.
Yeah.
He was all right.
Yeah. Have they made any moves on the NIL the new roster here with the ruling coming with the NCAA have you heard anything of the walk-ons being axed and all that stuff?
That is what I go to you for, Coach Hud.
Oh,
So if you don't know, I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, that's a sore subject.
Yeah.
It's a bummer, guys can't participate anymore, if you're not on paper. It's a whole legacy of people that are wiped out. And one of the reasons they said they couldn't grandfather it and let the people that were already there and not have a freshman class with walk on and a sophomore. They said it was a financial issue with the NCAA. I'm like, well, take some of that frickin' tournament basketball money and slide it on over because you don't
Yeah.
get nothing from football anyhow. They've got it.
Yeah, I want to get into that and the ramifications of it when we get you back in studio. I think that'll be a good
Yeah.
discussion, Hud. All right, man. We'll let you run. Where else you heading to on the road
I'm
here?
heading to College Station for Easter
Nice.
weekend to see the Pirate, Kayla Hudson, and spend some time with her. Their spring game is Saturday
Okay.
down there at A&M.
How many they gonna have? You think at that game?
You know what? I'll send you the number. It'll be a lot.
How many will the Colt put into the building
I'm
this
going,
weekend?
30 35 plus.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
I'm gonna get maybe, shoot, who knows?
Yeah. All right, man. Well,
There.
enjoy it. Enjoy your family time and the Easter Bunny,
Yeah.
and we'll reconvene with you next week.
Okay, I'll see you next week. I'll be back Wednesday.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, see you, buddy.